To understand more about INS Mahe, we are joined by Commodore retired Anil Jai Singh, now Vice President at the Indian Maritime Foundation. Welcome, sir. Appreciate you giving us your precious time. To begin with, tell us what makes INS Mahe an important addition to India's coastal security architecture.
Thank you for having me on your program. It's indeed a landmark day for the Indian Navy, the commissioning of INS Mahe, because INS Mahe is one of class of ships which we've never had similar ships in the Navy before. We've had similar ships, but not with this kind of capability. So I think it adds a very important element to our not only our anti-submarine warfare capability, which is the primary role of the ship, but to our complete shallow water coastal capability. Because as the name suggests, they're anti-submarine warfare shallow water ships. So that is the principal element that these ships have. So as you mentioned, this is the first one to be built in Cochin shipyard. There are going to be 8 built in Cochin and 8 are being built in Calcutta at Garden Reach Shipbuilder. So we will have a total of, in the next 2 or 3 years, a total of about 16 of these vessels. I think the main features, the main advantage this will have is that, we are surrounded on the sea by 3 sides. So we have to ensure our maritime security. We are a maritime nation. Our trade is dependent on the sea. Our energy is dependent on the sea. Our resources are dependent on the sea. So we have to ensure that we are never threatened from the sea. And both our main adversaries have, they're both strengthening the navies to finally have a more prominent presence in the Indian Ocean. Particularly our western neighbor Pakistan. It had 3 submarines till recently and is now being armed by China with 8 brand new modern AIP fitted submarines. Now this gives tremendous submarine capability to Pakistan over the next 3 or 4 years. If we have to counter that, we have to ensure that we are able to protect all our harbors, our naval harbors, down the west coast and on the east coast. So the very fact that they'll have 8 or 9 submarines operational means they can deploy submarines across our harbors to interdict our shipping, our naval shipping. But if we have this anti-submarine warfare capability with so many ships, we'll be able to effectively counter that offensive approach of theirs. So I think that makes this ship a very important addition to our maritime capability. The other great feature about this boat is that these ships is that despite their displacement being only 1100 tons, now 1100 tons by naval standards is a small ship. And which is what you require in shallow water, because you can't have a deep draft. Draft is the portion of the ship which is below the water line. So these ships have a draft of less than 3 meters. They can operate in very shallow water. So to have a ship that can operate in such shallow water with very effective sonar and detection capability is a great asset. There are also very good platforms therefore for mine laying and also for coastal surveillance and intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, etc. In the shallow waters, not only our own shallow waters, but in the enemy's shallow waters as well. So I think besides their ASW capability, they also have a very strong multi-role capability. They have a gun for their own air defense, which can, these modern guns are very, very potent. They have a very rapid rate of fire. So they're very effective against even a swarm of, let's say, drones attacking the ship. So I think overall this ship is going to add great capability. It's going to be a major asset in our anti-submarine warfare capability, because one of the limitations we always have is that in shallow waters, the submarine has an inherent advantage because bigger ships make more noise. And so they're detected at a longer distance by a submarine, which can then launch an attack. These ships are silent. They don't have a deep draft. They've got all the modern stealth features that a ship should have. So therefore, they will be equally silent vis-a-vis a submarine and make the submarine's detection capability that much less effective in our shallow waters.
Right, sir.
What also is a very important... yeah, please go ahead.
No, I was asking, you explained this is the first vessel of the Mahe class. You explained this sets it class apart from earlier shallow water ASW platforms. But how does this reflect India's broader push towards a self-reliant defense ecosystem?
The Indian Navy has always focused on being what we call a builder's navy and not a buyer navy, because we understand that a country with the kind of maritime posture that we have to adopt, a blue water posture, we cannot afford to be import dependent. That's a vulnerability that we have if India wants to be the kind of power it aims to be. So the Navy, not only from now when Atmanirbharta has become the buzzword for the last 50 or 60 years, has been focusing its attention on indigenous platforms. And as the XO of the ship said in that brief slide which you showed, this ship has more than 80% indigenous capability. That's a great credit, firstly, to our industry, to our technological base in the country, our R&D capability, our ship designers who've been able to put such a potent package into a ship which is only 1100 tons in displacement. And I think it reflects very, very positively towards India's vision of becoming an Atmanirbhar military force in the next few years to come. Because these ships bring the cutting edge of technology to the Indian Navy and to sea. So I think from that perspective, it's a great, great asset. Again, a great asset to our entire defense, Atmanirbhar, Make in India vision that we see for ourselves.
All right. Also, sir, looking ahead, how will you think the induction of subsequent Mahe class vessels shape the Navy's near coast defense capabilities?
Oh, these will be a tremendous asset to our coastal capability. Like I mentioned, shallow waters present a challenge because in shallow waters, larger ships firstly are restricted in how much area they can operate in. They can only operate where the water permits them to operate. So if you have a ship with a less draft, with a shallow water craft like this one, its draft, that is the portion that is below the water line, is less than 3 meters, which means that it can operate in very, very shallow waters. And that is a great asset because enemy submarines often try and now with missile, they try and target your ships entering and leaving harbor by positioning themselves at a strategic position just outside your naval harbors, and they become very difficult to detect because they're very silent. So when you have a ship like this ship can operate in a much wider area of water, where the depth of water is not a limitation for it, or the shallowness of the water is not a limitation for it, and therefore it complicates the enemy submarine's ability to intercept or interdict your other shipping, either your merchant shipping or your warships. So therefore, this ship not only provides a very effective defensive citadel against enemy submarine attack, but also provides a very offensive capability against those submarines which are going to try and interdict your shipping. Plus, of course, the third aspect is it can go into enemy shallow waters and carry out an attack, which also is a great asset. So from all these three perspectives, and what I was mentioning is that it's a rare thing that a ship of this size can carry both a hull-mounted sonar, which is located in the forward portion of the ship, and a towed array sonar, because the towed array sonar gives tremendous anti-submarine capability to a ship. And if a ship of this size can carry a towed array sonar, it's a credit to our designers and our technology providers that they've been able to deliver this capability.
All right, sir. Thank you for giving us the elaborated answers. I mean, it's a landmark day. Like you said, India adds new strength to the coastal defense. We'll leave it at that. Thank you for your insights,